When I made the decision to be a CA, for me it was more like, when I'm a CA, I've arrived, and the sound of the word chartered accountant sounded cool.
What kept me going with my studies was the love for the subjects. And I thought after school, I'd go and work, and that would be it.
I decided to do business science, and I chose to do economics. I felt like the new struggle was in the boardrooms rather than in Parliament.
I remember there was an ad on TV, I think when I was in like the 9th grade or something, when they were opening the Nelson Mandela Bridge. And I was like, wow, create something that simple that connects two parts of a city where people had to go around before. Just the symbolic nature of what that bridge stood for is what inspired me to start really considering civil engineering.
Believe and act as if it were impossible to fail. I think that we don't have much time on this planet. It's good sometimes to have that naivete and really apply yourself and try things, even if they sound or seem absurd at first.
It's wonderful what's been accomplished, but there have been a lot of things that have held things back. A lot of injustices, a lot of imbalances.
Anyone who sits back and thinks about the future of South Africa will know that a great deal of the future has to do with undoing a lot of the past. Some of what needs to be undone is the uneven distribution of opportunity.
In Cape Town in 1973, Alan Gray founded an investment management firm, Alan Gray Limited. He began to build what would become Africa's largest privately owned asset management firm.
The mindset around entrepreneurship was changing towards a more complex one of not only the making of the money, but the values around the making of it as well.
In 1984, Alan wrote a letter to the finance department of the South African government asking permission for 20% of the company to be donated to a trust to support black enterprise.
Although rejected at the time, this letter represented Mr. Gray's philanthropic intentions. He was anticipating that any super profits from his firm would one day be used for the betterment of society.
It was always there at the back of my mind, and really was the initiation, perhaps, of the vision for what's now Alan Gray Orbis Foundation.
In 2005, 20 years on, the Alan Gray Orbis Foundation was established with the mandate to invest, inspire, and develop individuals who will go on to become high-impact, responsible entrepreneurs capable of shaping and transforming the future of the Southern African region.
It's up to you. It's not up to us. We can make it possible for you to dream. We're trying to do that.
Understanding the important link between higher education and entrepreneurial ability, the foundation decided to focus its efforts on South Africa's bright young students. With a staff of 3, a 2.5-page vision document, and 6 months before the first intake of students, the fellowship opportunity was created.
There was this incredible opportunity that had been created, and financially there were significant resources that had been made available, and I suppose there was an incredible sense of responsibility for wanting to do justice to this opportunity and to make it work.
The fellowship opportunity is a full undergraduate university scholarship as well as an entrepreneurial and personal development program that runs alongside tertiary studies and includes seminars, guest speakers, experiential learning activities, and project-based deliverables.
How do you select people with entrepreneurial potential? It's just a very unusual thing to be selecting for. And so for that reason, we felt that we needed to have a final selection camp, which would really be a significant assessment center over a number of days where people would be taken through the entrepreneurial process.
It's been 10 years of selection. For the foundation, I think we have changed and we've improved, we've reviewed, and it's just getting better and better each year.
Well, I've been at all the selection camps, and it's been great. What we do as an assessor, we look at the behavior and we record that behavior. At the end of that activity, we'll then have to sit down and look at competencies according to what the foundation is looking at.
If this was my opportunity, my advice to all the young people is bring your A game, do your best, just focus on maximizing the experience.
Where I'm from, it's a township sort of area, so not a lot of people get exposed to such opportunities. So all they know is I should grow up, get my matric, and then start working. They never see themselves as anybody who's going to make a high impact in South Africa. Therefore, having me from that area actually achieving that will be a sort of, I can also do that too if she could.
Carl Schramm formulated what has become known as Schramm's Law, which states that the single most important contributor to a nation's economic growth is the number of startups that grow to $1 billion in revenue within 20 years. This law is central to the foundation's approach. If only 1 or 2 fellows become high-impact entrepreneurs, they will then be in a position to change the entire economic future of South Africa, and the foundation will have achieved its vision of making a sustainable and long-term contribution to the region. And while research suggests that there is no single psychological typology that will ensure an entrepreneur's success, the development of an entrepreneurial mindset is central.
We're looking for people that have entrepreneurial potential, but we're also looking for a certain type of individual representing what the foundation stands for. And through that process, we then emerged with understanding our 5 pillars, which have remained completely consistent: intellectual imagination, personal initiative, spirit of significance, courageous commitment, and achievement excellence.
So I think what we realize as a foundation is that, wait a minute, we don't have candidates for 4 years. We have them for a longer journey than 4 years. So we can actually start with the first, putting the right foundation in place. And the right foundation is, first is the mindset.
You think differently, I find. You see what you are capable of. You might know your limits. And then you start pushing those limits. And after pushing those limits, you become something greater than you thought you would be.
The type of entrepreneurship that the foundation is seeking to cultivate is responsible entrepreneurship. It's the one that says, I'm aware of societal ills, I'm aware of the poverty and the unemployment.
So the words are, Ayo, I want to be a fellow, right? I want to have the spirit of significance. I want to make an impact.
I want to be a fellow.
One of the pillars that our program is built on is called the spirit of significance. The underpinning of that is really around how do you spend significant time developing yourself, grooming yourself, growing as an individual, but with a far broader connection to the societal influence that you'll have eventually.
Shortly after the launch of the foundation in South Africa, the program was extended into Botswana, Namibia, and Swaziland. In 2008, realizing that access to quality education remains a challenge in South Africa, the scholarship program was introduced. By providing scholarships and placing entrepreneurially talented learners from disadvantaged communities into good high schools, the foundation aims to deepen the pool of fellowship applicants.
There are young people in South Africa that have the potential for greatness. But for potential to be realized, potential needs certain conditions and support and resources.
Some schools like this, they just are extraordinary, and they just have that extra touch that just, I don't know, just knowing that around you there are people that are willing to go the extra mile for you to reach where you really want to be. It just makes you feel like you're at the top of the world. You just know you can do anything.
The core issue is supporting the scholar through their high school career, understanding the academics, understanding the pressures that they may face, and helping them to be proactive in facing those fears, in facing those challenges.
My life changed within 5 months or 6 months. I didn't believe in myself, but as soon as I got the scholarship and I got exposed to what was out there, I really started getting involved with the opportunities and really trying to understand what kind of person I am, what am I good at, what am I bad at, so I can use it to my advantage.
We go right back to the beginning to start developing this entrepreneurial talent. It's a long pipeline of developing talent at all stages to really have an exceptional cohort of individuals that have been capacitated, that have been educated, to have extraordinary, hopefully, entrepreneurial impact in the later years.
At the end of 2011, the Association of Alan Gray Fellows was formalized, consisting of fellows that have successfully completed the fellowship program.
Our first few years were very much focused on the fellowship. And over time, people started to graduate and move beyond the fellowship. We realized that group needed to be better organized.
The association focuses on fostering a culture of lifelong learning, creating opportunities for world-class entrepreneurial development, and equipping fellows to start enterprise as well.
I'm in that phase where I'm building up my work experience, building up the skill set that I believe I would need if I were to start up in the future. For me, the association is helping me grow that skill set. So we're getting a lot of exposure through the startership seminar, for instance, around what are the basic first steps that you need to take to start up. And you're also building your network through the fellows that you interact with.
When these graduates are ready to set up their own businesses, they can apply to E2, a source of venture capital specifically for Alan Gray Fellows, for seed capital at generous rates. This is awarded to deserving applicants on approval of a business plan.
I think one of the incredible ideas from Alan Gray is then to say, okay, once you've been out there working, in case you really want to create a successful business, I will create capital, which then can be used by E2 to fund your business.
We want people that are able to start a business and not see themselves as a business person, but see themselves as an initiator of something that will grow and become a change maker in the world around them.
It's so easy to just basically give someone money, but the foundation really invests in your pathway as an individual. It makes you realize what you're truly passionate about, and also it provides you with mentors who force you to think outside your comfort zone.
When I got here, there was academic support, there's personal support, there's mentoring, and I didn't know it was going to be so rounded.
It's helping you exercise that entrepreneurial part of your mind, and as I'm going along, it's getting easier and easier.
For me, entrepreneurship is about freedom. I like to figure out things for myself. It lets you be free to explore the world, and you're going, how can I do something that affects the world in a real way?
I'm a games designer. I've made a new game for mobile phones.
Me and Richard have been working for 2 years to try find the leaking tap of electricity.
Drive-through grocery store.
Afrocentric music streaming service.
The shaker maker.
A new television show.
Lithium battery-powered diesel switch timer.
I think many young South Africans lack access to funding, but even more than that, I think they lack access to the relevant education.
What I really needed was the space to just practice.
Ladies and gentlemen.
The foundation has given me the confidence to say, you know what, you can try it, and if you fail, you've learned and you move on. So I really appreciated that.
It has been 10 years since the Alan Gray Orbis Foundation first opened its doors. True to Alan Gray's ethos of thinking long-term, these are still early days. But as the foundation reaches this important milestone, let's take stock. 23,000 scholarship applications and 13,000 fellowship applications have been reviewed. About 30 selection camps have been run, with over 1,800 applicants in attendance. 245 candidate fellows have graduated from the university and have been through the fellowship program. 161 scholars have graduated from high school, with some joining the fellowship program and all going on to university. In addition to the numerous camps, events and seminars, 5 jamborees and 4 startership events have been held. The association has seen the birth of about 22 businesses, currently at an estimate value of 400 million rand, with many more in the ideation phase. A considerable number of fellows have gone on to gain experience in fields they might hope to be entrepreneurial in one day. And whilst much of what has been achieved can't yet be measured, early indicators suggest that fellows are starting to move into areas of influence where they can begin to effect lasting change for the common good.
We've been blessed with the wherewithal to be able to take this very long-term program. I mean, when you think of it from a child, what's 11 to 12 starting as an Orbis scholar, I mean, I think you're going to be in your mid-30s before you really are probably the entrepreneur, and probably, into your early 40s before you are really the leader. So, from 12 to 40, and then what they do with the leadership, of course, is so important. It's a very long-term program. But I'm confident that it's an appropriate endeavour.
One of the things that's working well is the fact that we are a learning organization. It's our ability to keep learning and keep trying new things, because we understand we're in uncharted territory. We're part of a huge experiment that no one has done what we're trying to do the way we're trying to do it at such a scale.
At the end of the day, we work with a very small number of individuals relative to the need of the country, and so it has to be that the learnings that we generate from investing in those few can affect a far more broader group of individuals through sharing that thought leadership and having an influence on probably one of the most exciting areas of endeavour in the world at the moment, which is the field of entrepreneurship.
I believe it's a reward that is much more than gold, just to see a life that has been transformed. Individuals who come not so confident and living very committed, intending to be agents of change in their various environments.
I do this work to see if I can show them that there's a different way of experiencing life, and that also, as much as you cannot change your past, but you can use your past to be a catalyst for who you want to be one day.
It's giving individuals a head start. It's giving them a direct line of sight on their dreams. And to be a part of that is amazing.
So I think after 10 years, we're sitting on an incredible platform to do something that has never been done before. I think this pipeline of entrepreneurial talent is starting to mature. We're starting to see incredible individuals emerging and rising up to the fullness of what we dream for them. I think what we really need to make sure is that we don't get complacent at this point and really push harder to really understand some of these very difficult questions about how we fully unlock entrepreneurial potential, how best to support a startup community. These are profound questions, and they're questions that have value to the rest of the world if we can start to understand them better.
There is an expectation that we are surrounded by such good spirit and such good energy of our young people that we have no choice but to believe that it is going to work. We need to just make sure that what we put into it is sufficient, and these young people will take it further and make this country something we will all be proud of one day.
Summarizing my journey with the foundation, I would say you are going to come out of this smarter, wiser and stronger than you were.
They remind us that we're not just here for ourselves, we're here for the greater community.
It truly forces you to look at the problems that are actually facing the places that you live in, places that you come from, and it actually motivates you to want to make a difference in that place, because you know, like, that you are capable of doing, something amazing, something very significant.
What excites me about it is a quote by Margaret Mead, where she says, "Never doubt the ability of a small group of people to change the world, because it's the only thing that ever has."
But it's so easy for all of us to forget the younger version of ourselves who made a commitment to an idea much bigger than all of us. And when I see all of the fellows, when we all interact, the one thing we always take away is that we still remember why this matters and how big the job is that we all still need to do.
I think it's more than just entrepreneurial leaders. It's leaders in the broadest context. It's creating opportunity, a sense of hope for everybody, such that people can dream. Not a dream that is impossible, but a dream that can be realized. So that's a little bit of the story of the conception, you could say, of Alan Ray Orbis Foundation.